Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of WrestleZone, and today I'm joined by the real deal, Zayda Steele. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic to be speaking with you today. You've done a lot in your short career thus far, but I wanted to talk about your nickname first of all. It rhymes with Zeta Steel. I like that, but I mean,
Right?
what does it exactly mean to be the real deal? Can you kind of explain the origin story of that?
I can. Look, one, I love Sasha Banks. She calls
I
herself
know
the
you do.
boss,
Yeah.
right? Bianca Belair, she calls herself the EST. So going into wrestling, I was like, I need a nickname. I need something. I already knew I wanted to go by Zeta Steel
Yeah.
just since I was like 16. So I was like, I was just bouncing stuff off and I was like, the real deal. And it just rhymes. So it was one, it's kind of stupid, but like there's a lot of meanings to it. Like if I'm a heel, look, I'm the real deal. I am better than you. Look at me. But if I'm a face, look, what you see is what you get. If you like me, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's whatever. But I'm unapologetically me. So the real deal.
Yeah,
It's a
so I
lot of
Yeah, it has like a certain like attitude or like not flavor, like a little added flair to it. It's like there's some
yeah.
legit, obviously, real deal insinuates like you're a legit kind of like a legit boss. We'll get into Sasha Banks a bit later. I know she's had a lot of influence on your career, but you seemed like you said you were pretty set on Zeta Steel from even before you started wrestling. What kind of, obviously, no, it's not your real name, but what kind of drew you? How did you craft Zeta Steel in your mind?
So I'm Arab. A lot of people don't
Yes.
know that about me. And so there's not a lot of representation, especially in women's wrestling.
Mhm.
So I wanted an Arab name and I just love the name Zeta. I thought it's really unique. I don't know many Zetas. I don't know if you do, but I was like, hey, it's an Arab name. It's unique. Got it. And then still, I don't know. I wanted something that was cool, but like
Yeah.
not like too girly. I don't know. I just Zeta Steel. I had like a bunch of different, like, you
Yeah.
have a list of names you
List.
want to
Yeah.
use and stuff. So Steel was on there and just mixed it together and came up with that. Yeah.
Yeah, the only kind of other Zeta I can recall, there I don't know, there might be more, but the only one I can recall was Zeta Ramir, AQA from NXT.
Hmm.
She was Zeta Ramir for about 6 months. But really, obviously, then she kind of dropped that after she left. So I guess right now you're the only active Zeta in wrestling, so you kind of own that name. But part of
Yeah.
that journey, you've been kind of crafting your character even before you got started in the ring. So kind of still on your journey so far, can you kind of talk to us about the process of developing yourself and your identity in the ring and kind of who Zeta is as a character?
Yeah. So I love heels. I grew up loving AJ Lee, love the
Yes.
beautiful people. I just always knew I was gonna be some sassy little, can I curse on here?
Yes.
I know I was gonna be a bitch. I
Yeah.
mean, I knew that it was just I'm 19, I'm young. Like, when you're young, you do stupid things. You're bratty. It is what it is, right? So I always knew in the ring that's how I wanted to portray myself. But now that time is progressing and I'm getting more reps in there and I'm actually working a lot more babyface in other promotions. So I was like, all right, I gotta add some layers to my character instead of just bitching out the
Hmm.
crowd or my opponent. Let me pop off. Let me add some layers. Let me be me. And it's just I'm still working on myself,
Yeah.
especially as a baby, because right now I've been told you're still heelish out there,
Yeah.
and like I can't just be like, come on, guys, like that's
Yeah.
just not me. But I'm trying to find that ground where I can just the crowd love me, but I can still be me and not
Yeah.
because they people can tell if you're not fully you and you're just faking it. So
I feel like especially sometimes you do have to fake it until you make it until like you said you're still getting those reps in early on. It hasn't even I believe been a full calendar year since you made
no,
yeah, it was last August I believe it was. It hasn't been even a full calendar year since you made your debut. So I feel like getting those reps in. I was talking to your good friend and my good friend Emily J, real
yeah,
life good friends, she's also been playing heel. She's kind of in the opposite. She's been mainly a baby face. She's been getting to hone her side on the heel side. So,
Yeah.
it takes some reps, especially still in your rookie year, as they say. But I do have to give you some props because, while you may be getting more reps in with your character aspect, your ring gear game is strong. So for me, like,
Thank
seriously,
you.
like, you talk about popping off, you popped off there. I'm curious for you, where do you kind of find your sources of inspiration? Where do you go to in envisioning your gear? Because honestly, like,
Yeah.
not a lot of you popped off, sis, as they say. Like, seriously.
Yeah, thank you. So it's so funny because my first ring gear, it's like this black and pink one.
Pink, yeah.
I was told like my debut like 2 weeks in advance or like a week and a half, and I was like, I don't even have gear.
Yeah.
Shoot. So I hit up one of my friends. He's also a wrestler, but he makes ring gears, and I was like, hey, I know this is super last minute. I need something. I don't care what you give me. I just need something to get me through this match. After that, I mean, it's not what you wear, it's how, you pull it off.
Yeah.
It's, but it was pretty basic, but it got me through a lot of matches. It was my first ring gear, so I always hold it near and dear to my heart. But then moving on, I was like, Zayda still needs something, like, especially when I used to valet, I used to wear the wildest outfits.
Yeah.
So I was like, in the ring, that needs to match. So just ring gear wise, I'm trying to find my style because I'm very indecisive. I like a lot of different things.
You can
I
be
don't.
experimental, nothing wrong with that.
I love like Liv Morgan because she doesn't have like a specific. I mean, yeah, she does a lot of fishnets,
Yeah.
but she just like a Sasha. She has the crisscross.
Yes.
Bianca has her pants and the little top.
Mhm.
Everyone has their own style. I don't really know what I want yet, but I do want something with
Mhm.
bling and just bright. So shout out La Lucha Lady, my ring gear lady, but right now I'm still trying to figure it out. But thank you for,
I'm pulling up
giving
your
me
Instagram right
it.
now because it's the latest one that you posted, like, especially this kind of like really, really pink. I don't know if it's the filter on it, but there's a really
Oh,
pink and
it's really
black
bright.
one.
Yeah.
That one is so, like, I love it. Like, honestly, I can see the Sasha Banks in there, you got the crisscross in there, but I don't know, it's just like well put together. Maybe it's shout
Thank
out to
you.
your ring gear designer, but you pull it off really well. It adds a layer to that kind of the real deal vibe. And like you said, I know
Yeah.
your dream opponent is Sasha Banks slash Mercedes
Hmm.
Mone. So maybe this has something to do with it. But what prompted you
Yeah.
to incorporate sunglasses into your presentation?
It definitely was all her.
Okay.
Because when I started off, obviously, when you have stage fright, but it's nerve-wracking. And I
Yeah.
was mainly a valet, so and I would cut a lot of promos before I would wrestle. And so I was like, all right, well, let me just put some glasses on so I don't completely see everyone in the
Mhm.
audience. It didn't have to play a part with her, but also it's a little cheat code. If you're nervous to cut a promo in front of everyone or whatever, just pop on some dark shades and you're good.
Yeah, and I know you started off with kind of the bigger glasses when you blinged them out. Now you're going for, I don't know what the style is, but they're a little bit more retro, like the triangle ones.
Yes.
What I mean, how big of a do you have a big sunglass collection in like real life?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Okay.
do. And now, like right now, I'm like at a point where, well, mainly because I'm baby now, so I try not to wear my sunglasses. Even though I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're heel or face; you can still look good. But I'm trying to steer away just because I've seen a lot of people start wearing shades, and
Mhm.
I don't like to do what a lot of people do. Everyone throws super kicks. I
Mhm.
stay away from that. A lot of people are wearing shades now. Now I'm good. You know what? Y'all can have it. So I'm trying to steer away from that, but I do love my shades. I try to match it with my gear.
Mhm.
So
It is
yeah,
summertime, so like I mean, not that all these
I might
events are
bring it back.
outdoors,
Yeah,
but like it works for heel. It really does. Or if you're being a valet, I mean, it works heel. To be honest, it's like blocking out the crowd that you don't like.
yeah.
So I feel like
Well, the
that
thing is too
works.
is like when I started, I was valeting this tag team, and they would always wear hit vipers. So I was like, I need to
Yeah,
match you guys, but
yeah.
put my own spin to it. So that's really how it started as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the beginning of this, I had this planned anyway, but obviously, Sasha Banks slash Mercedes is a big influence on your career growing up, and even still now, we can see that. Can you give us a little bit more insight into her influence on you and why you gravitated towards her?
Yeah, so before her, the main wrestler that really made me want to be a wrestler was AJ
AJ
Lee.
Lee. Mm-hmm.
And then obviously after she retired, it was, it was a weird time. And that's when I started watching NXT because every Raw and SmackDown was the same matches every week.
Yeah.
So I heard a lot about NXT, turn it on instantly. Like the same connection I had with AJ Lee, I just had with Sasha. Like one, we're like the same build basically. She trained what, like 4 hours away from me.
Yeah.
Um, so I character wise, she was all there. Yeah, she wasn't the biggest, but she flaunted herself. She made sure you knew who she was, and it just inspired me, and I saw a lot of myself and who I wanted to be in the ring from her. So I try to use little bits and pieces from her. A lot of people think I just straight up copy her. I mean, it is what it is, but I just love her so much.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of you have that attitude. You're taking bits and pieces, like you said, like I can see the Liv Morgan inspo in your gear, you know, Sasha with the straps and all of that. But I feel like a lot of people have also been doing that. It's not just them. I think people may
Yeah.
correlate it to them because they have a higher platform. But but I feel like you're taking bits and pieces of things that are inspiring you, but putting your own like twist on it. And like you said, you're still in this kind of experimental phase and kind of figuring out who you are. So kind of while you're doing that, you're taking influences from other people, but then making it your own, if that makes sense, you know? So
Yeah.
I love her. And I know in a previous interview, you said that you watch a lot of women's wrestling. So I'm curious, who else in this modern day do you enjoy watching?
Oh, I watch literally only women's wrestling. A lot of my coaches like laugh at me for it, but I'm like, hey, look, I'm a woman.
I
What
feel
do you
you.
expect, right? Like even growing up, I love the divas. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like you turn on a Triple H Cena match or a Kelly Alicia Fox match, I'm choosing the Kelly Alicia
Yeah.
Fox match. I don't care. But I love, like I said, AJ Lee. Nowadays, I love Liv. I think Liv is
Yeah.
just she deserves the freaking world. She's really talented. I love Liv. I'm loving Cora, Roxanne. Like NXT right now is
Hmm.
killing it with the women's division. All the women. Oh my gosh. Impact wise, I love Gisele Shaw. I have a funny story.
Okay.
My actually like 3 weeks ago, I was freaking out over a match to one of my mentors, and I was just like, I don't even know who I am out there. Like, just had a whole breakdown. And he's like, all right, hung up on me. He calls me an hour later. He's like, hey, are you like good at FaceTime? I'm like, yeah, what's up? Giselle Shaw was on the phone. And I was like, I
Hi.
just wanted to,
She's great.
and then she just sat on the phone and just gave me so much advice. Like, we literally had like a whole freaking it was a whole thing. I love her so much. She followed me that night and just like send me your matches. I'll
Hmm.
make sure you're good. So I love Giselle. Trinity's Trinity.
Yeah.
Again, she deserves the world. Mickey James.
That's my girl. I mean, in case you
That's your
can
girl. I
tell, but
love
that's
Mickey
my girl.
James.
Yeah.
I love Mickey James. Even AEW Sky Blue is killing
Hmm.
it. I'm so happy she's like being used a lot more. Tony Storm, Soraya's back. She was
I
another
know.
one of my
Hmm.
favorites. So honestly, every female. I don't have like a specific. I just I just want all girls to succeed. Just every company, no matter where you're at, just kill it. Get the same
Period.
opportunities. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've met Giselle a few times. I've only had great interactions with her. Taking us back to that conversation, if you even remember, you mentioned that you like got some advice and kind of just a lot of knowledge to absorb from her. Can you tell us about
Yeah.
what that phone call entailed and maybe some
hmm
advice that you took
So
away?
yeah, she was basically telling me she was like, look, have fun. Yeah, you can stress. I mean, if you're not stressing, it's not, you care, She was just like, have fun. Also, another thing, because I was telling her about the crowd reactions, because I
Hmm.
was like, I'm working baby, but it's just not fun. I don't know who I am out there. She was like, look, sometimes it's gonna suck. Sometimes you're gonna have to pause, not start the match until the audience start like look at them,
Hmm.
baby or heel. You you really don't have to switch up what you do. Just instead of talking your shit to the crowd, talk shit to your opponent. You still do the same thing. So she was giving me just more so character advice and just tell me just to have fun, like be in the moment, like don't stress about it. You mess up, you're not even a year in, you're good.
Hmm. Yeah, and she's one who has great character work. A lot of it is obviously heel based, but she's been a baby face before, kind of back when she was still in the UK indie circuit. So she
Yeah.
has that balance right there. So she's definitely one that I enjoy watching. I know, like you said, you grew up watching wrestling with your brother, but thinking back to your childhood, what did what did your younger self envision your older self doing when she got older?
Oh, honestly, growing up, I can't say like it wasn't until I moved and like I had my own room that I was like, all right, I love wrestling. This is what I want to do. Because when I was watching with my brother growing up, I was kind of just forced to watch it. You know, the younger sibling, like TV
Mhm.
privileges. Like, who am
Mhm.
I to tell my brother, can we change the channel and watch like
Yeah.
iCarly or something? Like, no, I was
Oh, childhood. Yeah, yeah.
right, and like I was just like forced to watch it with him, and then I just literally legit was like groomed or like grew to love it
Mhm.
until we moved. I had my own room, and then that's when like Total Divas started coming
Yeah.
out, and like I just loved it, and I knew instantly I'm gonna be a wrestler. I'm gonna be the bitchiest bitch you will ever meet. I'm gonna be a coward, do whatever it takes to win at the end of the
Mhm.
day. And look, I have my championship that I still, a lot of
Yes.
people hate on me for the way I retain it. But you know what? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's all I gotta say. So
Mhm. You
yeah,
you embrace that cowardly heel, that performance
yeah,
art of it. I gotta respect it. You do what you gotta do, Zayda.
yeah.
I respect it. I respect it. Now,
Hmm.
like you
Let me put
said,
my belt up.
you know, once you turned 18, you made that major move and dropped out of high school to pursue professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Can you give us insight? Obviously, there was a passion for it, but
Yeah.
what prompted, this kind of not drastic, but definitely life-changing decision, and how did you land up in MCW?
Oh, so since the age of like 12, I was like looking at schools,
Yeah.
got no response. You're too young. It was what
Yeah.
it was. I knew as soon as it's so funny because it all lined up at the perfect time because COVID hit during my like junior year.
Yeah.
And I was, 17 and I was like, all right, cool. I turn 18 in a couple months. As soon as I turn 18, I've been looking at MCW since I was like what, 13. So at that point, I turned 18 in October, and by January, I started training. And I was trying to balance school and wrestling, but at the end of the day, when you know what you want to
Yeah.
do, I have no plan B. Like wrestling is all I wanted to do, and yeah, my mom surprisingly, because my mom came to America for us to get an
Yeah.
education, so let her know, hey, I'm dropping out, and I'm actually gonna become a wrestler. At first, she was not too thrilled, but then she saw how happy I was and how I was really committed, and this is
Mhm.
really what because my mom knew from a young age this is all I wanted to do, but she
Yeah.
didn't actually believe that I was gonna go out and do it. And but now she would drive me. It's so funny because I didn't have my driver's license up until like March, so I was maybe driving illegally, but she would drive me the first month and like sit for 4 hours while I'm at training.
Mhm.
And everyone would be like, yeah, why don't you come with us like after training to like Sheets or something? And I'm like, oh no, I got school or whatever. The whole
Yeah.
time my mom's waiting in the car. It was as much as she hated it, my mom was my biggest
She
supporter.
loves you, yeah.
Yeah.
That's real love right there. If it makes you feel any better, I turned 26 in October and still don't have my license. Oops. Um
Hey, you know what? I'm not even judging. I'm not. But I have mine now, so
Yeah, yeah.
I'm good. Please
Yeah.
don't come for me.
Yeah. But I'm curious, while you were in high school or even before that, did you partake in any athletics or kind of performance arts? Because it's kind of a blend of both of those.
So, 6th grade, I signed up for the wrestling team. And my first day, I
You
thought it
thought
was,
it was like professional wrestling,
yeah.
you
And
know?
then I go there and everyone's just like grappling each other. And I was like, oh, I lasted a week. And then I was like, yeah, this is weird. And then I started doing theater afterwards. I did theater, chorus. So, like, when it comes to being on stage,
Yeah.
it helped me out a bit. I've been doing theater since I was actually in elementary school, but yeah, I feel like that definitely helped play a part in me not being as shy or I'm more open when I'm out there.
Yeah, and with theater, was it more like I know especially in middle school, high school, it's normally like plays or musicals. I assume it was that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have like a standout or like a memorable role that you cherish from your high school, middle school days?
Um, not a role, but like I have a
Okay.
moment where
Okay.
like everyone, it was fifth grade. It was our final like performance, and like everyone was just like messing up, and I just like started improv to like doing my own thing. Like forget the play. I don't even know what it was about, but I remember doing my own thing, and then afterwards, my teacher came up to me. She's like, "So what was that about?" And I was like, "Oh, everyone just forgot their lines, so I just figured I'd improv." And she was like, "It was actually really good." So it's little stuff like that, but nothing. I got. I would always go back and forth, especially in high school with or middle school with my theater teacher. We would go back and forth because I didn't agree with some of the stuff we were,
Yeah.
reciting or doing, and I was like, "Hey, this will be a funner route. Hey, this I feel like the kids here would love to watch this instead." And I always spoke my mind. Even now, like I'll be in training and I'm like, "Hey, why are we doing this?" Like maybe the crowd's more into character work instead of all these moves. I always speak my mind. It gets me in trouble, but hey,
You own it.
I do. It's literally who Zayda Steele is in and out of the ring. Like I
Ye-
tell it how it is. So
Yeah, and kind of taking it back, like we said, your debut match was in August of 2022, correct?
yeah.
Against Trisha Dora, nonetheless. So, how was that experience for you finally competing in your first professional match? And then on top of that, working with I would say a major name like Trisha Dora.
Yeah. So funny because I started training at CZW around like 2 months before,
Yeah.
and I would just tell DJ like, yeah, I like kind of annoyed like because MCW does these student shows called Breakthrough, and I would just kind of be annoyed that the only girl or one of the only girls in training is not getting a match. I just felt stuck in the valet role, which I
Mhm.
look, I get it. When you first start, you're not ready to be in the ring.
Yeah.
Being a valet, that'll help you, tremendously. So when you do get in the ring, you're not as nervous and stuff. So I will always be thankful for that. But at the same time, my training was progressing, and here I am, like, damn, still waiting for a match. So I was telling DJ about it, and then he was like, "Well, do you think you're ready for a wrestling match?" I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I know how to I know the fundamentals. I know somewhat where my character is going. So yeah, I do. And so he's like, all right, cool. Gave me like a week and a half notice. It was like, hey, by the way, next show, you're wrestling Trisha Dora. And she was, it's so funny because a lot of people say their first match is like probably one of their worst.
Yeah.
That was up until this year, one of my best matches. She let me do whatever I wanted. Like, and it's weird because a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're green, so we're gonna slow it down and
Yeah.
you know keep it basic." Trish was like, "No, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I've never done this move, but it looks cool." She's like, "Cool, we're doing it." So she was very giving and was the easiest person to work with. I really want that match again now that I have more experience.
Yeah, and we've talked about at the beginning of this kind of some of the challenges in finding your character and stuff, but obviously, like you said, you've grown a lot since you debuted. So kind of as your rookie year comes to a close, it's soon coming up. August is right around the corner. How do you think that you've grown as a person and as a competitor since that debut with Trish Adora?
Ooh. Well, since then I've definitely gone through a lot. I if it were up to me, I would tell you everything, but I'm trying to, gotta watch what I say nowadays. But just know I have gone through some crazy opportunities that most wrestlers could only imagine or dream of. And going through that taught me, like, all right, right now we're going to work, like, really work. Like I said, right now I'm trying to focus on also having fun.
Mhm.
But since that match with Trish, and now I'm like, all right, this business is a lot of things. Yeah, you want it to be fun, but you start to see the scummy side, the very, it's if I wasn't mentally strong, I would have already been out, but I love this so much. So right now I'm just trying to focus on doing the right thing, grow, get out there, just getting as many reps, but also learning from many different people. Like I've worked girls greener than me, and I've given girls their first match, and I'm working vets. Like I just worked Diamante, which was
Yeah.
the best. So right now, it's just I'm very I'm like a sponge right now. I just want to learn everything. I've been doing a lot more intergender matches recently, so just right now, this closing year, it's a lot. Like I've gone through a lot in a year than most have gone in 5. So yeah, one day I will fully talk about it. But if you're catching what I'm dropping, yeah,
So,
yeah.
early on in your career, as you said, you've landed some pretty cool opportunities. You got to take part in the WWE Raw 30 special. And then again, 3 weeks later in the Valentine's edition, where I believe you took part in that segment with the Mysterios and Rhea
Mhm.
Ripley. So, can you tell us more about your extra work opportunities at WWE this year?
Yes. So it's crazy. Like I literally, especially at Raw 30, like Undertaker's right there, and freaking like all these especially my first extra work was in a Legends night. All
Mhm.
these people I grew up watching, like, well, it was crazy. But yeah, shout out to Gabe Sapolsky.
Yes.
That's his last name. Yes, he reached out to me. He's been he's another one who's like always been part of by my side. He reached out to me after my match with Mandy Leon. Was like, hey, I know you're green. I know you got a long ways to go, but I do see something in you, just like I saw something in like a Cora or whatever. So he's been like ever since like October, just always a text away, like, hey, send me a promo. Hey, I just watched your wrestling open match. So he's been one of my biggest supporters as well. And he gave me that opportunity to do extra work and get more eyes seen. So shout out to him. I'm very grateful. It's crazy. Like being back there, it's because they don't it's not like an AEW, like they're very specific on who they bring
Yeah.
backstage, and I'm grateful I'm one of them. So
I don't remember if there was like a poker thing going on. What did you do at Raw 30 exactly?
Raw 30, they didn't end up using. I don't actually no, they used like 2 people, but I was not used. Unfortunately, I was only used for the Valentine's Day. It's a hit or miss. Like you're
Yeah.
there legit like 12 hours, like from like noon to midnight. But it's worth it. You get to their catering is bomb. You get to watch
Yeah.
the show. They actually let us back be little seat fillers, so that was cool. Free show, and you're mingling with the stars and getting yourself out there.
Yeah.
So
I
nothing to
remember
complain about, really.
you actually got some airtime for the Rhea Ripley Mysterio's Valentine's Day segment. I remember seeing it and I was like, is that
I was
Zayda?
right next to
Yes,
their
I
table.
know.
It
I
was
know. I was like, that's just so funny. But like you said, you didn't wrestle at either of those appearances. But like you said, you were surrounded backstage with a lot of seasoned veterans and producers. So I'm curious, were you able to kind of pick anyone's brain while you were backstage? And if so, kind of who was it or what did they say?
it's funny because they tell us not to like really talk to anyone, but
Yeah.
you know me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find an opening. So I talked to Shelton Benjamin. He was very, 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 very sweet. Mia Yim, who is it's actually
She's
funny because my
great.
mentor, his name is Blake. He was like, hey, you're going to Raw. All right, cool. I'm gonna text Mia. Make sure she talks to you. So she was just talking to me, telling me how like things are backstage
Mhm.
and how to be on your P's and Q's and just be like, don't everyone's there like on edge and trying to be professional, and
Yeah.
she was like, dude, like talk to people. It doesn't matter. Like, what are they gonna do? Kick you out?
Mhm.
So she was very sweet. Rhea Ripley is very,
I
very,
know.
very sweet.
Yeah.
She is I shouldn't say that, but she is. Byron Saxon is another one who like sat and actually talked to all of us and made sure we all were comfortable. And they didn't really give advice, but they kind of were just like, "Oh, actually, no, I lied. 4 doors opened. We sat and watched people practice whatever they needed to do." William Regal actually came up and talked to all of us. It was like basically, do we have any questions? A bunch of us asked questions. He just sat and made sure to talk to each and every single one of us. It was He didn't have to. I think that was like his first week back too, and like
Mhm.
the fact that he
Yeah.
did that, I know he was super busy. So there's a lot of people there that are just very giving, and I respect that because they could easily been like, oh, that's the extra cast or whatever. Like all right, cool, keep on walking. But there was a couple people that stopped and really got to get to know us, and yeah, it was really nice.
Did you get to ask Regal a specific question, or were you just kind of absorbing everything as it was happening?
I think because everyone was asking him really good questions. By
Fair.
the time it was my turn, I was like, well, I didn't want to ask him the questions just so he knows I care. So
Yeah.
I think I asked him like something about social media, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm not the best one to ask for it. And then he like made a joke about it. I was like, at least I got something in there.
Yeah.
It's better to like ask stupid questions than to just sit there and be one of the only ones to not say anything. So
Yeah, it's kind of a running bit on social media, on Twitter at least. Well, he will tweet like he's not the best at like
yeah,
Twitter, so instead of like making threads, he will literally make separate posts to everything, and he just makes a bit of it on Twitter. So that's kind of funny though. But kind of to close things out, you're coming up, closing in on your first calendar year, kind of looking towards the future now. Do you have any personal or professional goals that you're yearning to accomplish this next year now coming up?
ooh, I definitely want to do a tour, whether that's in the Europe, the UK, wherever, an international tour, which may or may not be happening soon. I'm definitely trying to just get out there because right now I wrestle in the same states basically. So I'm trying to travel out there more, which I am getting the opportunity of
Mhm.
making I think it's in Chicago. Either way, my Illinois debut for Dreamwave August 4th
Yeah.
and 5. So I'm excited for that. So I'm just trying to, my
Wait,
goal is,
that's the one that okay, that's the one that I
yeah,
think Mickey just got announced for.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
Yeah, a lot of people actually like Masha's on it, and Maki Ito. I'm
Oh,
hopefully I get one of those matches. We
girl,
don't know,
yeah.
but yeah. So my goal basically for this year is just to travel everywhere, um, internationally, on the West Coast, wherever the case may be. That's basically really it. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on reps, reps, reps. Work as many people, as many different places. Have fun like always. Continue to add layers to my character, and just see where that takes me. Right now
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush because again I'm 19. I'm not like, yeah, you everyone's goal is to get signed young, like especially look at the NXT roster,
Look at
right?
Thea
But
Hale. Same age. Yeah.
same age and it might win the championship. So
Mhm.
it's definitely watching that you think to yourself, it's hard to not compare yourself, but surrounding yourself with the right people telling you like, hey, it's not a marathon or it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like everyone's time is different,
Yeah.
so just keep doing you. Don't be discouraged. Constantly, again, surround yourself. It's like I can't not stress how important it is to surround yourself with people who truly want to see you win. Because Lord knows there's a lot of fake people or a lot of people that use you just to see where they can get you. And with a good team, like you rather have three solid people than a whole school of fake people that don't really actually care about you. Or yeah,
Yeah, wrestling's an inherently, maybe I feel like in anything, but especially in wrestling, it's very
yeah,
competitive because there's only so many big companies with so many spots. And like you said, everybody's journey is kind of different. I think Thea Hill had a few years of experience before she even got signed. You're still less than a year since your debut, so I feel like you already have a mature mindset more than most
oh,
people your age
thank
have.
you.
So I feel like that's going to help you, especially go far in your career as you continue to progress. But Zayda, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Before
Thank
we let you
you.
go, can you please tell listeners where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, all my social medias are Zeta Steel. Email is the zetasteel@gmail.com. So yeah, I don't have any TikToks, just Instagram, Twitter. I do have Facebook, but it's not the best
Yeah,
bet.
I
I'm
barely use
not I'm
it. I
not a
feel you.
Facebook girly. No, but other than that, yeah, that's where you can find me. I got a lot going on in the next couple weeks, so
Mhm.
be sure to check all my stuff out, and hopefully this gained me a couple new fans or people, check out who the real deal is.
Yeah, she is the real deal. Zayda Steele.
Yeah.
Zayda, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.